Hello and welcome to the Paterno Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Paterno, and I got my lovely co-host with me, Mrs. Kari Paterno.
Hello.
How are you guys today? We got episode 63. We do apologize that we haven't recorded an episode. We didn't record an episode this week. I think it was last week.
Yeah, it was last week.
Yeah. We hope you guys are doing well. We apologize. It was crazy at work and kids and just we haven't gotten around to record a podcast. And I talked about it on TikTok. I was like, "Oh, we're gonna record a podcast," and we never did. So we do apologize. Sometimes life happens, but we try to give the best product that we can give, and sometimes we think we're going to be able to do that, and we don't end up doing that. So we do apologize if we speak too soon and we don't get to doing a podcast. But we appreciate you guys listening and sharing, and um, you guys can listen on YouTube now. So you can watch and listen on YouTube. So we appreciate it if you subscribed to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube. That'd be awesome. And we got episode 63. It's not going to be very long. We're going to talk about. I do want to discuss what we were talking about this morning on our way to church.
hmm
Um, I think that we can just kind of dive into that. Really, dive into that a little bit. But I wanted to talk about a little bit on this episode about Alovea. Something it dawned on me. I talked about it a little bit when we lived in Texas. Um, you guys will have to go back maybe, I don't know, 10, 15 episodes and hear me talk about it. I don't remember exactly which episode I talked about it, but Carrie knows we were talking about it last week. I had, back in March, I got on a new supplement plan. Some of my naturopath,
hmm
holistic hormone practitioner, doctor buddies, and back in Dallas. Started doing my blood work through them. Started a new workout plan. Started a new supplement plan. Got off TRT. And when I was lifting, I remember I was doing chest press, and I did 3 plates on both sides. I was doing the plate loaded chest press machine, and when I went to go extend out, I felt this sharp pain go down the back of my arm and from my neck and go down the back of my arm by my tricep and then go into like my forearm. So from like March till I don't know, probably a month ago, I didn't do any shoulder exercises, chest exercises. I did some back exercises, arm exercises, and obviously legs and stuff, but I couldn't do squats. I couldn't lift my arm
hmm
over my head. I couldn't do this. It like hurt. So I started going to my chiropractor and he was like, "Oh, you can do this." And I started icing it. I remember we would ice it like at nighttime and stuff. That didn't really work too good. And but I started taking Alovea in June, June or July. I just took one supplement. I wanted to try it. I was taking it while I was taking my other supplements. Well, now I'm 100% on Alovea and I've been I'm taking Balance, Immune, Limitless, and Vitality.
hmm
This is the first time I've been on Immune. I've been taking Immune since June or July, but I've only been taking Immune, just uh the standard doses, two pills a day for every day. And and I started feeling some of the Ace Manic kicking in, but I didn't know if it was because I was on all the other supplements or if because it was Alovea, but my body felt different.
hmm
And and then for the past 3 weeks now, I've been on the whole entire stack, the hormone support, the inflammation support, the immune support, and the the vitality, which is like greens and stuff like that.
hmm
But when we moved to Florida, um, I noticed probably, and I didn't realize it, but I noticed probably 2 weeks ago. I said, "Carrie, my shoulder doesn't hurt anymore."
Right.
And she was like, "Oh, really?" And I was able to move my arm over my head. I could, move it back. I could move it forward. I could do all the things. I could do squats. And and I was like, I wonder if it was the Alovea, because the Alovea, the Ace Mannin technology in the supplements has stem cell rejuvenation. Is it stem cell rejuvenation or is it
Re- it's regeneration.
stem cell regeneration? So I
Hmm.
wonder if I'm pretty sure that it had a combination to do with me not doing any kind of shoulder exercises or chest exercises for 3 months, and a combination of the Ace Mannin working the stem cell rejuvenation through my obviously the pain was in here, so that's where all the stem cell rejuvenation is going to go. It's going to attack the area that has um the area that has problems.
Yeah, regeneration.
Yeah, stem cell
So
regeneration.
yeah, so it's regenerating, so creating new stem cells, and the stem cells went to your area that needed to be healed.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So I thought that was interesting. So, you know, if you, I don't know how you guys feel about Alovea. I don't know if you guys been on the website, but they're changing lives. They're helping children all over the world. Every purchase that you make, it supplies a kid overseas somewhere. Kari can dive into a little bit about that, about the children aspect of it. It 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 serves. Is it? I don't know if it's a bottle to a kid or if it's a dosage to a kid, like a serving.
Yeah, that I don't know either, but I know that the company, the mission of the company is trying to provide these natural supplements to heal like third world children who are starving. So
Hmm.
most third world nations, their children are malnourished, or the people, not just children, but the people are malnourished. So the supplement is not, and because they're malnourished, a lot of chronic illness will happen in children to overcompensate for their malnourishment. So by I don't know either if it's a bottle or if it's a dosage. I don't know, but
Well, on their website, it says like 56 million servings to children all over the world.
yeah. So a portion of your sale is contributed to getting this product because it's natural and because it has the stem cell regeneration, is to give the product to the children to help them heal their bodies.
Hmm.
Everyone should be taking it.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I mean, it's for a great cause, and I didn't think about it until like 2 weeks ago, and I didn't even tell you this.
Hmm.
But when I put in my second order I put in my second order for the integrated bundle,
Hmm.
and and I was having a conversation with a guy a couple weeks ago or last week who's really struggling. He's a driver friend of ours, and he works with us. He runs freight for us, delivers different products for us across Dallas, and he's been really struggling with identity and all these things. And when I put in my second order and I was reading the stuff about helping the children and all it tells you when you purchase, like if you spend $100, it will tell you, you know, 27 servings will help, however many kids it says.
Hmm.
And and I was like, this is for a great cause. Number one, we have kids, and I'm sure a lot of other people that have kids also want to help other kids.
Right.
And obviously, everything that we know what's going on in the world and the child trafficking and all this bullshit that all these people are doing to all these horrible demonic things that evil people are doing to these innocent children. Um, this is truly being something, this is truly being a part of something bigger than yourself.
Hmm.
Like when I clicked that, purchase for $156 or whatever it was and bought it, and it said, this amount of servings will go towards these children. Like that is truly something that is bigger than you. Like you're
Hmm.
supporting something that's bigger than you.
Right.
You're helping kids all over the world who really struggle. It's not these bullshit commercials that says, "Oh, for 8 cents a day, you can save a kid or whatever." I mean,
Right.
this is actually. truckloads of product going overseas into these third world countries, into these into these countries where these governments are consuming all the money, consuming all the food, keeping all the electric, keeping everything for themselves, and their citizens are starving, they're poor, they're sleeping on concrete floors, they live in huts, they don't have electric, they don't have Wi-Fi, they're struggling just to get rice,
Hmm.
or whatever, or bread, or whatever they can
Or
get their
water.
hands on. Yeah, or water, to whatever they can get their hands on that day or that week to eat.
Right.
Why their government is, living in some high fancy house, getting funded by other countries, and then they're stealing all the money and keeping it for themselves. And obviously, I'm sure a lot of our listeners understand what's happening in this world, and they
Hmm.
see it. And just like if Kamala Harris wins, we're probably going to be in bread lines too. Eventually, one day, maybe not us, but maybe our kids will be standing in a bread line because she'll fucking destroy the country so bad
Well, yeah,
that,
hopefully not.
right, we pray that Trump does win.
Right.
Um, but yeah, um, I think I'm going on my second full month on all the supplements. I'm doing a third. Me and Kari both are doing a 90-day um run on all the Alovea supplements, and then we're going to do blood work through
Hmm.
LabCorp or whatever, and then compare them to our blood work that we did before we started. So I did
Right.
blood work back in July. So I'm just going to go off my July blood work. I know that's like, how many months ago was that? 3 months ago?
3 months ago.
Yeah, so I'm just going to go off that blood work, and then in um January I'll do another blood panel, and we'll compare the two. I feel good. I feel great. I don't
Hmm.
have any pain. I do notice, I did talk to you today about my calories. I don't like I'm trying to consume my 2,500 to 3,000 calories a day and get my 250 grams of protein, and it's almost like a struggle. So I don't know if taking the supplements, I don't need to consume that much calories and that much protein, because I've talked to a couple of people that every once in a while they'll do like a 40-hour fast, like just out of nowhere they'll just go on a fast and they feel amazing.
Hmm.
Um, so I'm not really 100% sure. Maybe if I'm gonna go on a mini bulk, or a mini cut. I'm sorry, I'm gonna go on a mini cut for the next 2 weeks. I'm just gonna do 1,500 calories and 150 grams of protein, and see about see how I feel lifting heavy, because I know the heavier I lift, the more hungry I get. But if I'm taking Alovea and I'm getting the stem cell rejuvenation, I'm getting the clean gut health, I'm getting the
Regeneration.
regeneration, I'm getting the nutrients um through the vitality, and I'm getting the proper balancing of my hormones and my testosterone,
Right.
then maybe I don't need to consume. Maybe we know UFC fighters that take Alovea. So we're trying to actually get them on the podcast. They're a big ambassador for Alovéa. So,
Yeah, I mean, I've noticed that too, where like in the afternoon, I'm not like super hungry to eat
mhm.
until dinner. So I have to make sure that I'm getting like a good amount of protein in breakfast, because if I skimp my breakfast protein and just say like, okay, I'll make up for it later in the day, like in lunch, then I've been setting myself back with protein because I'm just not super hungry until like
Right.
4 o'clock. So, but I've noticed that too. I've also noticed today actually was the first day that I noticed I have a lot of like clicking in my knees when I walk, like up the stairs and stuff. And I noticed today that my right knee, which was my worst knee, um, I didn't have a lot of pain or clicking going up the stairs today. So, like it was noticeable to me because it's always something that I paid attention to because it's very apparent, like it's loud. Um, and then even like getting up in the morning, I told you, like getting up in the morning, I used to be like really stiff. My back would hurt a lot. Even like it would wake me up in the night. Um, And I was blaming like, oh, is it the mattress or is it like the pillows I'm using? Like, why am I just not sleeping well? Is it stress? Whatever it could be. But I've been sleeping like good, like soundly,
Hmm.
and I haven't been waking up like in pain. I mean, I used to have to like stand up out of bed, kind of like hunched over, and then like lift up my back because my back would feel so tight and stiff. And it hasn't been like that at all. And then of course my knees too, because I've always had my knee pain, and it's been like 80% better in the morning. And this is only what, week 3 taking the
Yeah.
supplements. So, I mean, not for nothing.
Yeah, and you started squatting. She's never really been a
Hmm.
barbell squatter, and
Right.
now she started barbell squatting and barbell deadlifting,
Hmm.
which if you don't do it properly will put you into more pain. And the fact that she's been on the Alovea and hasn't really she's done like kettlebell squats and like goblet squats and like RDLs
Yeah.
and stuff like that with
Right.
kettlebells and dumbbells, but no barbell squats and deadlifts until like a week and a half ago. So she was on Alovea for about a week and a half and then started
Hmm.
doing barbell squats, and she could never really do barbell squats because, oh, my knees hurt, oh, my
My
back hurts, oh,
knees.
this hurts.
Yeah.
And now she's doing both barbell deads, barbell squats, and
Yep.
taking the Alovea, and she's not getting any more clicking in her knee. That's usually the lactic acid that builds up in
Hmm.
your joints and stuff that causes the inflammation. And that's where the Limitless comes into play, because it's made from the, I can never say this word, the betalines,
Betalines. Hmm.
which reduces inflammation, and the immune, cleaning up the gut health, which also reduces inflammation. And you've been
Right.
sleeping like a champion.
Yeah, I've been sleeping good. And we've really, and this has been for some time, probably like 6 months, we've really cleaned up um, ingredients in what we've been eating too. So
Hmm.
like really being conscious of seed oils and eliminating all of that from our diet, from our kids' diets, So that with the Alovea, um, it's and the diet was the easy part, I feel like, right? You just have to pay attention to what you're eating. Whole foods, and then if you are eating processed food, just making sure it's as clean as possible. I try to do like 10 ingredients or less in the stuff that I buy. Making sure you can pronounce everything. But
Right.
but yeah, you're right. I mean, what did I always tell you about squatting? Like, oh, I don't like squatting. It hurts my knees. And my right
And now
knee
you
in particular. And
and
now
last week you squatted the most you've ever squatted. What was it, like 115 or 120 or something?
115.
Yeah, that's
Hmm.
really good. And for somebody who's never squatted before.
And it's different. Barbell squatting is different than, I mean, just doing like a kettlebell squat or
Yeah,
a
there's a lot
body
of
weight squat.
technique. Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of technique with it. No, you've
So
done good. And oh, go ahead.
no, I was proud. Like I wanted you to come see me, like in the garage. Even I was like, come see what I'm doing,
Hmm.
because when we were first together and we started going to the gym together, I had never squatted before in the gym, and you were like, let's squat, and I was like, oh yeah, I could squat. And you just gave me the bar, and I fell forward
Hmm.
because I just had never, my body had never done that really before, especially in the
Right.
gym. I
You've
mean,
done
maybe
leg
like,
presses.
yeah, and other leg stuff and other, but never like a compound lift like a squat. And from
Right.
that point, it was really hard for me to do it again in the gym because I was embarrassed. And then, so even like when I was out doing the squats the other day by myself, like I was nervous. I was nervous because I just wanted to do the bar. And then I did that because my knees like just hurt so bad. So I did the bar and I was like, oh, this is fine. So I'm going to add, tens. Okay. Oh, well, that's easy enough. Okay. I'm going to add 15s. Oh, well, that's easy. Like, not easy, but it wasn't like I couldn't do it. And I was able to rep about 10 So, I mean, it was a good workout. And I was proud of
Hmm.
myself because like that's from like falling 2.5 years ago to now and then not squatting forever for a long time, for over a year because of my knee pain. And now being
And
able
then
to
doing
do that,
kettlebell squats.
yeah. And then starting with that. But even doing the kettlebell squats, like for the last couple months before we got the barbell, like my knee would still hurt, but I would push myself to do it because I know it's the right thing to do.
Hmm.
Um, but it would still hurt my knees. Um, so I'm gonna do this for a while with the squatting and see how my knees feel. And then maybe I'll start slowly incorporating like some lunging because that'll be the true test. Will be lunging for my
Right.
knee pain. But I'm super happy with it. Like I said, even noticeably today going up the stairs, because I always listen for the clicking and the grinding that I hear in my knees. And I was like, oh, I don't even hear it. Like
Hmm.
it's still sore. Like I still have like a soreness. Um, but nothing like the the noise that it's always made my whole life. Amazing.
Yeah. And if you guys want to check out Alovea, the link is in the show notes on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Any of your purchases, you'll save 10%. If you're not sure, send us an email or, message DM us on Instagram and we'll respond if you need some help. If we don't
Hmm.
have the answer, we know some people that we can push you to get you the correct answers. I don't know if you guys follow Max West on Instagram or TikTok or she's on all the social medias, but reach out to her too. She's a big ambassador for Alovea. They're based in Dallas, Texas, husband and wife, family owned company. Um, and they're doing some incredible stuff. Like I said, they're helping children. But if you click the link in the show note, you save 10% on all your purchases. If you are not sure what to purchase or you're trying to figure out like what you have, and I recommend and everybody's probably going to recommend the same thing. If you're just overall like looking to clean everything up, immune and limitless
Hmm.
for your inflammation and to clean up your gut health because a lot of the inflammation stems from poor gut health. But you
Hmm.
also, along with that, you got to clean up your diet too, and you got to, you know, do some kind of physical activity for. Excuse me, I'm about to sneeze. Um, clean up, water, drink water, do some kind of physical activity for 20 to 30 minutes a day.
Hmm.
Clean up your diet, eat some, prioritize protein, have protein centric meals, and then, consume immune and limitless. So, and I think that will help you drastically for leaps and bounds.
Yeah, 100%.
But I did want to dive into a little bit about Carrie and I's discussion on our way to church, and I thought it was kind of interesting. We were talking about people who don't set a standard for themselves, and we,
Hmm.
we can touch more on this on next podcast as well. But we're trying to keep this one short. But people that don't set a standard for themselves, they end up finding a partner that doesn't have any standards either. And then they don't realize that down the road, their life gets difficult or their life gets tough. We were having a conversation about two of our family members who didn't think about things 15 years ago or 20 years ago, and it's
Right.
causing issues in their life 20 years down the road because they don't set a morality or standard or level of um, a goal oriented lifestyle or a level of achievement for themselves. So when they get with somebody, we have a friend who, for example, we have a friend who was with a person who didn't want to the man our friend, she's a female. She was with a guy who didn't want to have kids and have a family. He just wanted to be in a relationship. That's all he wanted. He just wanted to date. Didn't want no kids, and he didn't want to get married. That's a red flag. If you want kids and you have a goal and a standard for yourself, and you don't want, and that person doesn't want the same thing that you want, then you need to get out of that relationship. But that person
Right.
chose to stay in the relationship and ended up having a kid, and that person doesn't want to have anything to do with that kid. Now the
Right.
kid has to suffer. Now the kid is in a home without a father. The kid is in a home with a single mother, and that kid's not going to understand what it's like to have, unless somebody walks into that person's life who's a stand-up guy and who wants to take over fathering and parenting that innocent child, and who's a selfless person. But when I met Kari, I had standards, goals, and morals for myself. I wanted to focus on business. I wanted to focus on being a successful sales rep. I wanted to focus on fitness. I wanted to focus on my relationship with God. I wanted to, and I still dated around, because you have to, if you don't date around, you don't know what you're looking for. You can't just
Hmm.
be in your house and just be, alone all the time and not figuring out what you want out of life. And a lot of people, we were having this conversation on our way to church. A lot of people don't set morals and standards and goals for themselves, so they don't know what they're looking for. And then uh, when they find that person, or when they find a person who doesn't have what they want, they end up staying with that person because they're scared to. If you are in a situation like this, it's okay to let people go out of your life. People, most people want attention, right? They don't want to lose friends. They're scared to lose friends because they don't know if they're going to find somebody to replace those voids in their life.
Hmm. Yeah, I think there's like an identity, an identity,
Crisis.
yeah, like an identity issue with people in today's society, not just because of like, generational um curses, if you will. I think that's what people call them, like generational pitfalls, like, we both come from broken homes, and, so there's identity issues that come up with that from when you come from divorce or when you come from any kind of like chaos in your family. And then also with the rise in social media throughout our life, I think that, and it's only getting worse, like in this generation of young kids, like I think everyone's living for everybody else. And you're
Mhm.
not, you have to live for yourself. You have to figure out what you want for yourself. No, it doesn't matter what other people think. It doesn't matter what you know,
Family
it
thinks,
does,
or your friends think.
yeah, your friends, your family, it's just society, people in your life, coworkers, people you work with, like know who you are and like have integrity with who you are. And if you don't know who you are, really dive in to figure out who you are. Because if you don't know what you want, and if you don't know what, you internally, what do you want for your life? Do you want, like you said, do you want kids? Do you want to get married? Do you want to be happy? Do you want to live in the same place you've lived your whole life? Do you want to travel? Do you want success above anything else? What are your goals? What are the things that you want? And I think a lot of people, I don't know if people think about those things. They're just looking for like, oh, well, I'm 25, or oh, I'm 30. I need to be with the person I'm going to be with. And then
Hmm.
you overlook, I've done it. You overlook the red flags. Like I've done it. People in my family have done it. My friends have done it. Like you will focus more on, I'm a certain age and I should be at this particular point in life because traditionally or societally, like that's where I should be. And if you are not, if you're not confident in your life at that moment, like that's going to bleed into the person that you're with. And that'll cause, undue stress or unhappiness in your future with this person. So it's okay if a relationship doesn't work. It's okay if a friendship doesn't work. It's okay if you have to get rid of a toxic family member in your life. Like, it's okay. Those things are okay. You're not living your life for anyone except yourself. And,
Go ahead.
well, you're not living your life for anybody except yourself. So if you don't know what you want out of your life, then your partner's not going to know what you want out of your life either. And if you don't communicate that because you don't know, it's going to cause resentment later on down the road. You have to it's like building a house. Like you have to have a firm foundation before you can build. And that's with any relationship. And I think it's hard for people these days to like build that foundation because they don't ask the questions. What do I want? Where do I want to be? Where do I want to live? What do I want for my family? And those skills just like aren't taught. And I don't think they were instilled in us when we were kids, like to really like map out what you want in your life. And those things can change. Like I don't think people should be getting married when they're 20 because they're like, "Oh, this is the map for my life." No, I think you should grow as a person and have relationships and learn from relationships and learn from
Hmm.
people in your life. Um, but especially before you decide to start a family. And I've said it before. I think the most important decision you're going to make in your life is who you choose to have kids with. It's not who you marry, it's who you choose to have kids with because your decisions will affect that child or children. And negative, positive, you're going to be a role model. You're going to hurt this child or love this child or children based on how you live your life. So you have to be at a place where you know what you want to build the foundation before you bring kids into your life. And I think a lot of that's overlooked because I think a lot of people don't know who they are, don't know how to find out who they are, or they're not comfortable with who they are.
Well, I also think a lot of people are scared of the unknown, right? They're scared to walk.
Yeah.
Occasionally in your life, you have to walk alone. You have to walk paths alone because you
Yeah.
really got to have self-reflection. You really got to figure out who you are. You really got to figure out what you want. You really got to figure out where you need to head to and the person that you need to become to head into that direction.
Well, that's a
And
good point. That's
and
a good point.
I also think that people are scared to if somebody is not if somebody is not filling those if somebody is not on your team on the path that you're traveling down because they don't understand what you're doing or what you're going through or anything like that, or they just think that you're selfish because you're consistently in the gym, because you're consistently at home, because you're by yourself, because you're reading books, because you're doing all these things. People think isolation is I remember when we were going to Elevate Life Church at Mighty Men, they would talk about, oh, if you're isolated, the devil's going to get you. And that's not true. If you're really a strong-willed man or woman, and you understand if you understand what the mission is and you understand what you're looking for, and you have a relationship with God, you'll get to where you need to go to. God will put the people in your life that need to be there, and he'll remove the people from your life that don't need to be there. And that person I was talking about earlier, when they asked that question, I want kids and I want to get married, and that person said, I don't want kids and I don't want to get married, that relationship should have ended that right then and there, that second.
Yep.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. We've been together for 6 months. If you don't want the same thing that I want, then we don't need to continue this relationship. Instead, that person chose to stay in that relationship, ended up getting pregnant, and then now they have a child, and now that child is isolated in a sense because they don't have that male father figure. Not that that male was a strong father, would have been a strong father figure anyways, but now that person, that child has no father figure at all.
Right.
So,
And those issues, not having not having a father or a parent present in your life, even if you never knew them, even if you weren't close to them, like there will be a sense of abandonment with a child that's missing that piece too. And that's what I was saying. Like, it's selfish for you to not have those pieces in order. And so
for
just be very
yourself.
careful. Yeah, just be very careful who you have kids with. Like you said too, I'm glad you said a lot of people are scared to be alone. Um, After I got divorced, I told my family, like, I would rather be alone and be a single mom than be with the wrong person again,
Hmm.
or like, I don't want to. you know, date a bunch of, like, I don't have time. Like, I'm a single mom. I'm a single working mom. Like, I don't have time to date around and find the right person. Like, I'll just be a single mom and be by myself. Like, I'd rather be alone. And so many
Hmm.
people are afraid to be alone.
Hmm.
And I mean, like, I know people too who have been afraid to be alone. So they settle for a person who maybe makes them feel good in the moment, but they don't think about, is this going to be the person that's going to better my life 10 years from now or 20 years from now? And, now, years down the road, maybe it's not what you pictured. And that's unfortunate because now, like, so much time has been wasted. So it's really important that you figure out who you are, figure out what you want. Not to say it won't change down the road. Like, evolution happens. People change. Life changes you. Different life stages will change you. But if your foundation is strong with the person that you've chosen to be with, those changes, like, your partner will support you through those changes and be your true partner through that stuff. If the communication is good.
Well, what's when I met you, when we were
Hmm.
talking on the phone the first week that I met you, I asked you, you know, do you like God? Do you have a relationship with God? Are you health conscious?
Hmm.
And do you, what are your values, conservative values and morals? And
Hmm.
she answered all my questions, and I said, okay, we can continue with this relationship. If
Yeah.
you would have said, oh,
And
I like to go out and drink and party and, I fucking blow money and, God's whatever, I don't give a shit. I don't care about waking up early to go to the gym. I would have been like, okay, well, I'm, you know, moving on to the next person.
yeah. And when
A
I,
lot of people lack confidence, and then you have to go back to the basics. You got to figure out what you want. Like,
Mhm.
oh, I want to start a business. I want to work out. I want to build a relationship with God. I want to go to church, whatever the situation is. If you got three or four things that are standards for yourself, don't settle for somebody that doesn't have those same standards.
Well, that's the thing, is don't settle. And when we first met, I said, like, you knew I had a child, I had a
Hmm.
young child. I had a very messy, um, divorce and that whole situation. So there was going to be, like, residual, uh, effects from that. Um, you know, I had, my kid at the time had some behavioral issues like that. That's not something that just anybody wants to sign up for. Like, that's difficult. And on top of it, I had to find the person that I wanted to find. Like, I wanted to have more kids. So that was important to me too. If I had met you and you were like, no, I never wanted to have my own kids, like, that wasn't going to work.
But most
So,
people in society, they would just settle and be like, oh, well, and they'll push their goals and dreams and morals and standards away
yeah,
to be like, oh, well, this person, like, it's cool because, this person's cool because every Saturday we just go hit this bar and we hang out there for 4 hours and then we come home and we have a lot of fun. And, this person likes to go have dinner every night after work and we go hit the city or whatever. So they'll put, they'll push away the morals and standards that they've set for themselves for maybe one thing that that person has that they
right.
enjoy.
Or people will say too, like, oh, he probably doesn't really mean that, or she probably doesn't really mean that. And, down the road, he'll want kids, or down the road, she'll want to get, whatever the case may be. Um, and it's funny because we saw some of our old, friends the other day, and they're younger than us, and they used to be, out all the time, like to party, like to be out late, like to drink, just yeah, being young, being a young couple. And now they have kids, and it was, us being 10 years older than them, plus having an older kid and a young kid now. But, um, it's funny when you see your friends and it's like, just wait till you have kids, you know, because your life will change. And
Hmm.
it's cool to kind of see them now on the side where we are because it's like
Hmm.
they were telling us about a trip they went on with their family and their family's wanting to like their family with no kids, no little kids, you know,
Having
like
dinner at like 10 o'clock at night.
yeah, they're like, yeah, we had a dinner reservation at 9 p.m. and they're like, no. And it's crazy because just like, you know, a year and a half ago, that would have been them, you know, if they were with us or whatever, it would be like, oh, just
Hmm.
come over. It's 10 o'clock. Like we'll drink beer. And we're like, no, our kids have been asleep for 2 hours. So,
Hmm.
you know, it's cool to see people too who have made it like through different stages of life. And you're like, oh, cool. We're all on the same page. Like, so
Hmm.
that was cool to see too.
Set your morals in your, if you're a single person, you know, and you can do, if you have a great partner, you can still, you know, another thing I asked Carrie when we got together 3 years ago, or is it four? No, 2021.
Yeah.
Um,
3 years ago.
you know, self-growth, self-development. Like, even though we're in this relationship, we're still going to individually grow and we're still going to find new ways individually to make ourselves individually better. And then so we can be better for each other. The better
Right.
that she gets and the better that I get as we progress through life, the better we are for each other and the better we are for our kids. So the
Hmm.
goals and the morals are never going to stop adjusting and changing and fine tuning to meet the people that we need to become in the future so we can do some of the things that we want to do together in business or together on this podcast or together with our kids or whatever the future holds for us. We have to set it up now so we can build towards that for the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years.
Yeah. I mean, our goal is to have, you know, our relationship be as strong as it possibly can because not only is that going to be a role model for our kids are
Hmm.
always going to remember what they see. So our
Hmm.
kids are always going to remember that we love each other, respect each other, laugh together, cry together, get through things together, have fun together. And then our common goal is like, you know, you're only parents for a very short period in your life together with someone. And your goal is to raise your kids to be good, kind humans and functioning humans. And then it's like you are back with your partner for the last, 20 plus years of your life. So it's like if you lose your partner in the process, like what's the end of your life going to look like? Like
Oh, and if
everyone's
you lose
goal.
yourself too, don't lose who
Yeah.
you are.
Yeah.
Like we're
Yeah.
still like we plan on when we're 60, we still plan on having a badass home gym and still lifting weights and still doing squats and deadlifts in our garage together at 60, 55, 60 years old when our kids are 18 and out of the house and
Hmm.
they're good, strong, successful young men going out there to continue the family legacy and to continuously keep doing great things and
Yeah.
build families and get married and have kids. When our kids are out of the house and we're doing our thing at, 56 years old, I still want to be doing deads. I still want to be squatting 400 pounds. Like
Yeah.
our things, we want to keep progressing and keep growing. So make sure that you set the foundation for yourself. And then eventually, if you have enough faith, God will eventually God will match you up. You'll start to
Yeah.
see the transformation. um you'll start to see the transformation and God will start deducting people and adding people to your life that need to be there and that don't need to be there.
Right.
And we see it now with our family. We got family members in their 60s and 70s who, they chose to make poor decisions 30 and 40 years ago, and that's affecting them now. And they've become selfish and, they have to put it all on their partner, and their partner is, feeling a certain type of way or feels a certain type of way. And, these people now can't have a relationship with their grandkids or whatever the situation is. But we
Yeah.
we we appreciate you guys. Thank you for listening to episode 63.
Yeah.
You got anything else?
No. No.
Okay. Thank you
Good
guys.
stuff.
So we appreciate you. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. And if you guys get Alovea, click the link, save 10% on all your purchases. And if you have any questions, please email us or DM us on the socials, and we appreciate you guys. Everybody have a blessed day.
Bye.
Bye.